The Kim, what you did the other night against Virginia, you got Bobo involved. You know, you got some other guys involved. You know, Booker's playing hot. I mean, you have to feel confident because again, it's an L, but it really was about as good of an offensive performance you could have won.
Yeah, I thought we played well. Certainly the efficiency was much better. We only had 4 turnovers in the game. I think our guys have done a good job of taking care of the ball. You know, we got some guys in double figures. The one guy we probably needed in double figures that didn't get there was Andre. But Tanner had a nice game. Bobo gave us some good minutes off the bench. Devin played really well. Thought our freshmen were solid and good enough. We just probably needed Andre to have a little bit better game offensively, and then defensively I thought we made a couple mistakes that cost us a couple transition defensive mistakes. And you know, again, Virginia's a very good team. They're older. They understand what they're trying to do. They have a great player, and Mike Scott, and so it's they make you pay for mistakes.
Talking to Andre, I asked him how he keeps frustration from setting in with some of these road losses, because you guys are just a couple of bounces here or there from winning those games, and he said that he just has to keep telling guys we are getting better, and I assume you agree with that message.
Yeah, I mean, I think it speaks again to the character of our team, that the way we're playing from the standpoint of, you look at a lot of nights and there's teams that are getting blown out every once in a while, and our team hasn't been that way. We've been in every game, we've competed, given ourselves chances to win, haven't made a couple plays in certain situations to win the games, so it becomes a little frustrating because you feel like you're playing well enough in some instances to get a win and you don't. But we knew from day one that this was going to be a team that our margin for error was really small. We don't have enough offensive firepower to be able to make up for defensive mistakes. And then if we have a guy like Andre who has a tough night, then it's hard for us to still score enough to win sometimes. And so we have to play pretty darn well and pretty efficiently to win most games at this level. And we've been there close. We've been in a lot of really good games, and on the road, it's usually a couple possessions one way or the other that help you, and in this case it's been helping the home team.
You always have the emphasis on defense, but was there even more the last couple of days, especially on the perimeter after Virginia's game?
Not necessarily. I think we've tried to talk about a couple things, and we certainly watched film of some things that got away from us defensively. We had a few mistakes that were really costly. We did some good things in the game. We made it hard for Zaglinski to get going. Joe Harris was the guy that we didn't count on maybe having quite as big a game, and 2 of the 3s that he got in transition, those were the ones that really hurt us. He's going to get one occasionally out of their offense, but the transition 3s are the ones that we've got to be able to stop, and so we have talked about how to be better transition defense.
What's been the deal with the Devin? It's really been scoring well and doing some things.
Well, the other night I think he did a good job of finding ways to go back outside. We knew that against Virginia it was going to be hard to score enough inside. They double the post so much that it's hard to get it in a situation where you can get it and score quick enough before the double team gets there. And so I thought Devin did a good job of reacting out of his screening action to find open spots. He did a better job of that last year maybe than he's done this year. It's been a little surprising to me that he hasn't maybe been as confident offensively away from the basket. I thought last year he played away from the basket more because of Jure. And, while most of the time we want him around the basket, I do think he has a shot that is good. It's something we've worked on. We've worked hard on it with him this spring and fall again. And, I'm comfortable with him shooting some 3s. And, he was able to make 2 big ones in the game against Virginia.
Emotions sometimes are overblown. The bottom line is, score more points. But Virginia Tech, they've had a bunch of close losses in the league. You guys have. I mean, could it almost come down tomorrow to which team can keep its cool the best? Yeah,
a little bit. I think, we're going to face a team that's really hungry. I don't think they played as well last night against Duke as they've been playing, and I'm sure they're having a very spirited practice today, and are going to be excited about the opportunity to play somebody. When you play like that, I think you want to play again right away, and we're going to get a good shot from them. Virginia Tech is a team that has surprised me a little because they're good enough to go to Virginia and win, and yet they've lost some games that I'm sure has Seth a little upset. But I think that just speaks again to how the league is very close. There's a lot of parity between most of the teams. There might be a couple teams that are a little bit in the upper echelon. I also think that they've played some teams that are some of the better teams in the league, and that's probably reflective of their league record as well.
What do you feel like Green and Hudson stand out? They seem like they're the 2 guards that make them go a lot of nights.
I think Green is just a terrific player. I think he can get his own shot. He's tall. He's 6'3" or 6'3.5", and he's long, and he shoots the ball over his head. So I think he can put it on the ground and score. He can make threes. He's a good defender. He usually gets a steal or two. So, they put the ball in his hands a lot, and he ends up, it's hard to keep him from getting 16 points. Hudson, I think, is a different kind of player. I think he's a guy that they post up in their offense around the basket, and that's could be problematic for us. We may have to do some things like double the post to keep him from scoring. And then the other thing I think he does is make threes. And he doesn't have quite the middle game that some guys have, but he's got a big, strong body. He's older, he's confident, and he's going to be ready to play tomorrow.
Do you think that it's fair that people say that the ACC's down a little bit? I mean, you look at the records, and it's like, every night the scores, you don't know who's going to win. It's like a heavyweight fight.
I think they say that because I don't know that there's not 6 teams, 7 teams that look like they're making the NCAA tournament right now. There's probably 4, maybe 5 that look like they're making the tournament, and so because of that, that's what makes the league look a little bit worse. I think it's because of all the new coaches and all the change. I think maybe some of the league records in the preseason weren't quite as good as some of the coaches would have liked. Although Virginia Tech did a really good job in the non-conference. Maryland did a pretty good job in some of the games. But I really think it just boils down to, I think now that there's a lot of quality teams, but maybe not quite as many teams that have secured an NCAA berth, so it looks like your league might be just a hair behind what it was from the glory years.
Is Milt's suspension limited to just games, or is he not working out with the team practicing?
He's not practicing this week. I've set some guidelines up that I want him to meet, and he's got to take care of those things. If he does and gets himself where I think he's in a good place, then we'll talk about bringing him back.
How frustrating is that for you? He's not a freshman. This guy's been here for 3 years.
It's part of college basketball, and if you're about doing things the right way and you're about, holding your kids accountable, you're going to have these situations. I think there's a lot of coaches that wouldn't discipline kids for some of the things that happen, that they wouldn't take them out of a game. And I just believe that at times you got to sit kids down. You got to make them understand that it's a privilege to be a part of the program, and when you don't do the things that you need to do all the time, there's going to be consequences, and sometimes those consequences are going to be to take you out of a game. And obviously, I felt that way this time.
Do you feel like he understands that message?
Well, we'll find out.
What was his reaction when you sat him down and talked to him?
That's enough with Mill. I'm going to move on from that. That's more than I want to talk about. It's between Mill and I.
Any other questions on Virginia Tech?
How do you walk the line between encouragement and frustration when you have a young guy going through a shooting slump like TJ?
You just try to look at the shots that he's taking. You try to teach him and encourage him that his shot readiness sometimes is more important than his actual stroke, and the quality of shot that he's taking is important as well. Kids get frustrated. They want to help the team. They think that they got to help by shooting, and sometimes they take a bad shot or they're not quite ready to shoot because they've never had to really be ready to shoot in high school because of the speed of the game was slow enough that they could get shots off and do the things they wanted to do. The other thing that happens at this level is you don't get as many easy baskets, so you don't get a layup or two to all of a sudden give you a good feeling or help your field goal percentage. You're constantly having to take 3-point shots or pull up jump shots, and as a result, those are high level plays that you got to be able to make, and if you miss a couple, confidence quickly goes. And so you need to try to find a way to get to the free throw line. That's one of the things that's maybe a little disappointing with TJ is he doesn't know how to get himself to the free throw line to kind of get himself out of his funk a little bit and get him a couple easy points.
Is that hesitation hurting? Because it seems like he's got that split second of hesitation, and then
I don't know if it's that, because if you look at probably the most important shot of the game was the 3 that he made when we were down 10 to cut it to 7. The crowd was going crazy, and if he misses that shot, we're probably going to get beat by 10 or 12. He made that shot to cut it to 7, gave us an opportunity to come back and fight later. So that was a pretty big 3 that he made.
You've seen Devin Coleman come on a bit recently. Seemed like he thrived a little bit in that smaller lineup Tuesday.
Yeah, he's done some good things for us. He's practiced much better. He has a much better understanding of what we're trying to do on both ends of the floor. It seems like it's it's taken him a lot longer than I would have guessed for him to grasp how we want to play. I think sometimes he's not as detail oriented as he needs to be, and that's been a problem. But I do think that now that we've been doing this for a while, guys like Bernard and Devin and KJ have a better feel for what it is we're actually trying to do. And now when they get in the game or when they're in practice, they're more comfortable to make plays because they're not thinking quite as much. And I think that's, we've seen that in practice. I'm still surprised that Devin hasn't shot the ball better in games. He makes shots in practice. He just hasn't really had much luck. But I do think the thing he has done is he's taken care of the ball. He's made some very good passes and shown that he's pretty poised while he's playing. Okay?